I just looked up Hügelkultur last night and found out a little bit more about it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to do here with our raised bed. So here is the raised bed that I built yesterday. And here is a huge pile of wood. Some of it's already rotting down. There's more sticks and things over here. So basically what hugelkultur is you put a layer of wood at the bottom, and eventually that will break down. It takes a long time, but in a raised bed it's perfectly okay, because oftentimes you need to just fill up the bottom 2/3 with whatever, just space filler almost. But this will eventually break down, and it has a lot of advantages. So first of all, of course, it'll break down into a compost eventually, and it'll be nice and healthy. But also, as it breaks down, it becomes kind of sponge-like, so it kind of soaks up the water. So it's also going to help to maintain the moisture inside the soil eventually over time. This all takes a long time with this. Um, and then also, I was researching, and I was very interested that because it requires more energy to break down, it tends to also be warmer, so it can help heat up the soil, which also breaks down other composts quicker and helps the soil to be healthier. So there's a lot of advantages to hugelkultur. Maybe so. Essentially, what I'm going to do for the first step, I'm not going to do too much today. I'm doing a small amount at a time. I'm going to add a bunch of sticks, logs, wood at the bottom. Maybe fill up at least half, maybe 2/3 of the way with just that, and then we'll see where we go from there. All right, so this is just 5-10 minutes of work. It's already the bottom third, a little less than a third, is covered with wood. I also looked up, and I couldn't find this for sure, but I think you could also put corn stalks in here. So we have some, again, from the previous tenants, had some corn going over here before. So we have a lot of corn stalks we're pulling out right now. And I know a lot of people like to cut this up into small pieces, use it as a mulch or something like that. Now we don't have a easy way to cut this up into small pieces, and I'm lazy. So I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna put in the corn stalk right in here at the bottom, and then continue layering it with a bit more wood. And then on top of all that, we'll put in some food scraps, some compost, some soil. Maybe before I do some of, I'll probably put a layer of cardboard, and then on top of everything, get some nice quality compost soil to plant into. So I'm thinking that's what we're gonna do. We still have a decent amount more wood over here, tons over there. I don't even know if I'm gonna bother going into that. By the way, here's what we're looking like so far. We just got some chickens unexpectedly, so tomorrow we're gonna be building a chicken coop. We've pulled down some old broken down pieces of a twin bed frame. Gonna see if we can put together some chicken coop. We have somebody in the village here who's gonna help us, who's built a bunch of chicken coops around the village before. So anyway, that's what where we're at now. All right, got a bunch of corn stalks in there now. I'm just gonna put some more sticks in there, fill up the gaps with some smaller sticks, I think. Yeah, so that's where we are. All right, here's my big old messy pile, mostly wood, with quite a lot of corn stalk and some other things that were kind of just in this pile, just some weeds and stuff that have been dead for a long time. But I think all of it's fine. It's all organic matter. The key was getting a good amount of the wood at the bottom, and I got a lot of wood, and I've cleared off this space here that was just a big old mound of random stuff. I had to pull out some things that were in this pile too. There was an old shoe, there was some plastic, there was a few things, but pulled out a bunch of that stuff. So I think now I'm gonna layer this with some more healthy, ready to plant in kind of stuff after I put in some food scraps. So this is coming along. This is fine. This is fun. I kind of like this, just using whatever's sitting around and figuring out a way for it to be beneficial without having to go out and buy a bunch of expensive potted soil. This is going to be fine, I think. Put in a book of synonyms and antonyms into your raised beds. There we go. Now it's looking like a intelligent pile of randomness. Now, I haven't actually read anything or watched anything about hugelkultur that says to cover it with cardboard, but I haven't seen anything not to, and I kind of feel like I want to, just because it makes sense to me. Because my next layer that I'm not going to put on now, I'm going to wait to put it on until we actually have some mulch. We don't have any mulch. We're probably going to go up into these hills over here and collect a bunch of pine needles. And I can talk about that later too, because I've learned a lot about mulching with pine needles. But I think I'm going to put down some dirt, some compost, and layer that here so it's a good growing medium. And then go ahead and put a mulch on top of it all. And then later I'll dig small holes where we're going to put in the actual vegetable seeds and things, probably seedlings, saplings rather. That's what I'm doing. I don't think this part's necessary. I haven't seen other people do it this way, but it makes sense that it would work well. And it gives me a little bit of a flat place to work from so that the soil isn't always just falling through the cracks in between the logs. So to me, it makes some logical sense. I don't have any experience with it, but it makes some logical sense. So I'll give it a try, see how it happens. So yeah, you can see that's about 2/3 filled now, just with all this pile that was just sitting here of sticks and old logs and old corn stalks. So here it goes. I'm done for the day. It's dark out. You can see the sky. Sun's going down. Dinner's ready. Oh, there's the moon. It's beautiful here. You hear the birds. So this is getting more and more ready. I've put on a couple more layers here. So it's basically we have a bunch of old wood. And then after that, we have sticks, smaller sticks and things to kind of fill it in. But there's still a lot of air gap in there. And then I put some cardboard, paper, some food scraps. And on top of that, put something that was like compost, but not fully broken down yet. And then put some of this mountain soil on top of that. And then I'll put in just some soil from the land, I think, kind of on top of that, since this is almost like it's mountain soil, but there's so much almost like mulch kind of stuff. I'll probably put a layer of soil, and then I'll in this main section I'll put actual mulch. I'll put pine needles, dried pine needles, which a lot of people think has a problem with acidity, but actually from my research it doesn't once it's actually breaking down. It does when it's fresh, but not when it's breaking down. So I'll put that on there. These spring onions I've planted around the outside. I decided not to worry about mulch around there. These were just growing. We found them accidentally stepping on them, thought they were just grass hidden in some undergrowth, but it's actually a lot of spring onions that must have been planted at some point by previous tenants. So we moved those over there. And I've also been building these 2 beds here and trying a more hugelkultur approach. You can see even this one even has the hill shape a bit, not super tall. I just found these bricks sitting around the property, so just thought I'd try, since this is kind of a small semi-awkward space because of the this little tree here, right here, and then a couple other things growing, like that thing there. So it's kind of a small, awkwardly shaped space. So I decided to try something like that. And then this one also was kind of an awkwardly shaped space next to these other trees. Thought I'd do also a hugelkultur kind of thing. So this is mostly just the old wood, and then on top of that I put some dried leaves and then some mountain soil. I might not do anything in the cinder block part of this one, just because I'm not sure once these trees start to flower how much that will kind of occupy the space, how hard it will be for me to get into this area. I'm not sure yet. So I'm probably not going to do anything around the outside of that one for now. So anyway, that's where we are. We've got this, I don't know if I showed the video of this yet, but we've got this is a little DIY chicken coop we made. All right, so I've just put tomatoes and basil in this raised bed. These I have both these baby tomatoes, these heirloom tomatoes. This one had literally 10 seeds. This one had literally 5 seeds. So I just did 1 row of baby tomatoes, 1 row of heirloom tomatoes, and then I have like, one or two, I can't remember now, 1 or 2 rows of basil, another row of basil in between. 2 rows of basil there. All right, this one I just planted peas around the outer edge, and then red bell pepper, kind of in the middle zone area in like 3 different rows. They need a little bit of space between seeds. So I'm gonna see how this one works. This one, the soil is not as deep before I have some cardboard there. And the Hügelkultur logs are much closer to the surface than they are in my other one. So I'm gonna see if this one works or not. When I was planting the seeds, sometimes they were going kind of in these little gappy areas between the logs. I don't know. We'll have to see if there's enough soil or if that's not going to work, but we'll see. Now, all right, I finished this one. I've got 3 rosemary plants in the corners there. Along this edge, and this edge, I've got 2 rows of salad radishes, the red radishes. And then the rest of it, including along that side, and then kind of in 4 rows, I've got lettuce in the middle there. I decided originally I was going to do radish along that side too, but because of how close it is to the fence, it's a little challenging to get in there. I thought getting into radishes might be a little hard, but lettuce I should be able to grab. So there we go. I've got the 3 done for now.